My name's Sam Manicom, and I've had the pleasure of riding this F800GS using the Jesse Luggage Systems traveller setup. Now this is a new range from Jesse Luggage, and when I started I had no idea about it. So do I like it? And if I do like it, what do I like about it? Well, the first thing, I'm a real fan of these panniers. When you actually look at them from end and side on, they don't look very big. The way that the edges are chamfered means that they're much more streamlined than your standard square box. Now in particular, what I like about the front end is this chamfer here. Now many times with my boxes, which come down completely square, I've been riding off-road and I've dabbed my foot down because I've had no choice, and I've hooked my heel underneath the front edge of that square. With these, I've done that several times and there's been no risk at all. These angles aren't there just for visuals or to stop you dabbing your foot down problem. They're actually clever engineering. The way these angles all work is that if you take a tumble, they add a significant amount of additional strength. I've seen these boxes that have done multiple journeys with multiple fall-offs, and they've survived incredibly well. I'm impressed. The locking systems on these boxes are really clever in that you've got one of these, both front and rear, and they work as a handle. Now all of the boxes have got their locks set up in such a way that you can tell at a glance whether they're locked when you walk away from the bike or whether they're not. When they're not, then they're locked that way. They're easy to undo, like so, and these act as carrying handles. The lids open out like this, and that's the next thing that I like a lot. Because you've got access to what goes in the lid as well as what's happening in here, you've got instant access to double the amount of stuff that you might want to need. Now you can see I've got my waterproof gloves tucked in there, including chewing gum, spare pair of glasses and that sort of thing. So that's very handy. And this is all held in place with one of these, which is just spring loaded and sits in place and holds everything nice and tight. Taking the panniers off is very easy because it's actually a one-place mounting point, which just undoes as simply as this, and out they pop. And to take them off, it is literally just a case of levering them like so. And this takes me on to the next thing that I like a lot about this luggage system. Instead of there being a straight square frame, you've got this multiple frame, and that means that the inside area of your pannier is really well supported. If you're going to take a tumble, that extra support is very helpful to have. My own boxes are bent because I have got a bog standard square basic frame. It also means that when you're riding off-road, and I've done a fair bit of that on this trip, it gives an extra solid surface for the panniers to sit on. Now the other thing that is very tricky about these panniers is the fact that because the system is set up the way it is, you can move the panniers backwards and forwards according to the terrain you're riding, the weight that you're carrying, whether you've got a pillion passenger or not. That makes it a lot of fun. So the next thing that I like about this Jesse Luggage Traveller system is this additional fuel tank. This is 7 litres, so that's 1.7 gallons. Now that adds a significant amount of fuel range to this F800GS, well, any bike. I like the way that the luggage system racking is so cleverly designed so that the tank sits in nice and tight to the back of the bike, and a fair amount of the weight is actually over the top of the back wheel, which of course you want for stability. So that's very handy, and this is gravity fed, so you just fill from there first and then you fill your main tank. It's been very, very useful. The next item in the Traveller range from Jesse Luggage is the top box. Now, I'm not a great fan of top boxes, or I haven't been until I've got to this one. It's not huge to look at, but actually you've got about 41 litres, I think it is, inside this top box. It slides backwards and forwards. So if you're riding solo and you've got a fair bit of weight that you do want to carry in your top box, then you can sit it again over the top of the wheels and close to the middle, so it affects your handling quite dramatically. If they're riding 2 up, then of course you can slide it back, and you can slide it back as far as you like. Now I've actually been riding with some pretty heavy gear on the back of the bike, so I've been carrying my heavy stuff in my roll bag just tucked in front. Ordinarily, if I was riding, then I would slide that box forward and I would carry my tent, my sleeping bag, my lighter stuff just on the back of the bike here. So that works very nicely. But the key thing about this top box is this. It's a solar panel. What a fantastic idea. Now this means that when you're riding, you're charging the battery that is inside the lid. Bang. Now this will charge your mobile phone. It'll charge other things too. I've used it for charging my intercom and various other things as I've been traveling. Let's just imagine, for example, that you're off-road and you're wild camping. You don't have to turn your engine on or run the risk of draining your battery to keep your IT gear running. All you do is to take this off, plug in your phone or whatever it is, and you can be walking around with that just tucked in your pocket, charging as you go. Get back to the campsite, plug it all in, the solar panel charges the battery, and Bob's your uncle. I just think that's brilliant. One of the other things that I like about this top box is that it's long and lean. So wind resistance isn't an issue, but also I can get my tent poles inside. Now I always battle to find places to put my tent poles in my panniers, my luggage setup, because inevitably I've got to stack them like this or awkwardly taking up uncomfortable space in the panniers. But with this, they just sit in there, sweet as you like. I like this system a lot, and I don't say that about things easily.